Have you ever packed your suitcase with excitement, ready to visit a place you've always dreamed of, only to wonder quietly, will my body handle this trip like it used to? Maybe you've felt it before, that uneasy tension between wanting the adventure and quietly fearing the toll it might take. The crowded airports, the long flights, the unfamiliar beds and unpredictable schedules. At 70 or beyond, these aren't just inconveniences, they can be real risks. But here's the thing no one talks about enough. The dream of traveling in our later years is still beautiful, still possible, but it has to be different. It has to be smarter. And most importantly, it has to be safer. In today's video, we're going to talk about 6 hidden dangers that most people never consider when traveling after 70. These aren't just small warnings. They're the kind of things that can quietly ruin a trip, or worse, threaten your independence, your health, even your savings. And the last one, number 6, is something almost nobody talks about, yet it's one of the most emotional challenges older travelers face. So stay with me until the end, because this conversation might just change the way you plan your next journey and help you travel not only farther, but wise. And before we begin, I'd love to hear your thoughts along the way. If you've had a travel scare or a tip to share, please leave a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to ElderLife Wisdom. We're here to help you live stronger, longer, and more joyfully with each new day. All right, let's begin with the first, and perhaps most serious, risk that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. Let's talk honestly for a moment, because you deserve the truth, not sugarcoating. After 70, even if you feel young at heart, your body plays by a different rulebook. Traveling at this age isn't like it used to be. And one of the biggest, most life-changing risks is something we often overlook until it's staring us in the face: sudden health emergencies while away from home. At home, you know where the nearest hospital is. Your doctor knows your history. Your medications are within reach. But the moment you step into a foreign airport or onto a cruise ship, that safety net disappears. Something as small as shortness of breath, a skipped heartbeat, or a dizzy spell can snowball into a real crisis, and fast. I remember the story of Harold, a 74-year-old who'd been healthy all his life. He and his wife booked a cruise, 2 weeks in the Mediterranean. It was supposed to be relaxing. No stress, no heavy lifting. But on the 4th day, Harold felt a sharp, burning pain in his chest. The ship had basic medical help, but it wasn't enough. They were days from the nearest hospital. By the time they got him airlifted, hours had passed. He survived, but just barely. And that trip, meant to create memories, left him shaken and scared to travel again. That's not a scare tactic. That's reality for many seniors. As we age, conditions like heart disease, high blood pressure, or even mild respiratory problems become more unpredictable. They might feel controlled at home, but throw in altitude changes, long flights, or unfamiliar climates, and suddenly your body is working twice as hard. Air travel, for instance, increases your risk of deep vein thrombosis, those dangerous blood clots that can form in your legs during long periods of sitting. Dehydration, a simple oversight on a hot day, can trigger confusion or even a fainting episode. And if you already have medications you rely on, imagine losing your luggage and trying to explain your prescriptions in a different language. Then, there's the insurance trap. Many seniors assume their regular health coverage will protect them anywhere. But the truth is, most domestic insurance plans don't cover care abroad, not even for emergencies. That means one hospital stay overseas could cost you tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket. And let's not even talk about the cost of emergency evacuation flights. So what can you do? You don't need to give up traveling, but you do need to prepare differently. Before you go anywhere, sit down with your doctor for a full checkup. Ask them, is my heart ready for this? Make sure your medications are packed in both carry-on and checked luggage. Bring a written list of every prescription, dosage, and your medical history. Translate it into the local language if possible. And perhaps most importantly, invest in comprehensive travel insurance that covers medical treatment, hospital stays, and evacuation. Don't just check the cheapest option. Look for what protects you, not just your bags. Because here's the truth, after 70, your health isn't a detail. It's the foundation of your freedom. Travel can still be joyful, but only when you're truly ready for what might happen. And when your health is protected, you're free to enjoy the world again. But that's just the first challenge. Let's move on now to something most people never see coming. And it might be hiding in every handshake, every fork, and every airplane seat you touch. Now picture this. You've just arrived in a new city. Everything feels exciting and fresh. You sit down at a bustling cafe, take a sip of the local drink, and dig into a colorful dish you've never tried before. It all seems harmless, until your stomach turns, your energy drops, and your trip begins to spiral into discomfort. For seniors over 70, the risk of getting sick while traveling is much higher than most people think. And the culprit? It's not always dramatic. It's often quiet, invisible, and everywhere. Germs, bacteria, new viruses your body has never faced. And at this age, your immune system simply doesn't bounce back like it used to. The truth is, our immune defenses begin to wear down with time. That means a simple cold caught on the plane can turn into a nasty chest infection. A salad washed in local tap water can lead to days in bed. Even a touch of food poisoning can cause dehydration and weakness that lingers for weeks. And that's not how you want to remember a trip you've waited years to take. Let me tell you about Margaret, a vibrant 76-year-old who traveled to Thailand with her daughter. She felt fine for the first 2 days. Then, after eating a bowl of cold noodles from a street vendor, she began having stomach cramps. Within hours, she was curled up in the hotel bed, shaking with fever. The diagnosis? Bacterial gastroenteritis. She spent the rest of the vacation recovering instead of sightseeing. One meal turned her entire trip upside down. And it's not just the food or water. It's the environment, too. Think about all the surfaces you touch: escalator rails, airplane seatbelts, hotel light switches. Many of these are rarely sanitized properly. And when you're over 70, the consequences of a stray virus can be far more serious. So what can we do to protect ourselves? It starts with awareness. Use hand sanitizer after touching public surfaces. Disinfect airplane trays, hotel remotes, even your phone. Only drink bottled or filtered water. Never tap, even to brush your teeth. Avoid raw salads or ice cubes in places where the water quality is questionable. And speak with your doctor about any vaccines recommended for your destination. Prevention is your best travel companion. Because staying healthy on the road doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. A few smart habits can mean the difference between a trip you treasure and one you regret. Now that we've looked at health and hygiene, there's another danger that sneaks up on many seniors. One that doesn't show up in a blood test, but can leave you feeling just as drained. Let's talk about what happens when your energy doesn't come back as fast as it used to. Let's be honest. Travel looks exciting on paper: beautiful places, new food, fresh air. But when you're over 70, what no one tells you is how much energy it quietly demands. Long lines, early mornings, tight seats, and unfamiliar beds aren't just small inconveniences anymore. They're physical obstacles that can drain you far more than you expect. You might notice it after just the first leg of the trip. You arrive, unpack, and already feel a kind of fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. That's not just tiredness, it's recovery lag. And for older adults, it can last days, even weeks. Your muscles ache longer. Your energy comes back slower. And even simple tasks, like getting dressed for a tour or walking down to breakfast, start to feel like chores. I remember Walter, a 75-year-old who traveled with his wife to Spain. He was so excited. They had planned a full itinerary, museums, walking tours, boat rides. But after the long flight and the 6-hour time change, Walter never quite caught up. He struggled to stay awake during the day. His legs felt heavier than usual. By day 3, he needed constant breaks. By day 5, they skipped most of their plans. "I didn't come here to sleep in a hotel room," he told me later. But that's what I ended up doing. Sleep disruption is one of the biggest hidden issues. New beds, strange sounds, jet lag. They all mess with your natural rhythm. And poor sleep doesn't just make you grumpy. It weakens your immune system, affects memory, slows down your reflexes, and increases your risk of injury. Studies even show that seniors take significantly longer to adjust to new time zones than younger adults, and the effects can linger. Then there's movement. Hours of sitting on a plane or train can make joints stiff and circulation sluggish. If you already have arthritis or a heart condition, you're likely to feel swollen, sore, and sometimes even dizzy. Even once you arrive, the constant walking, standing, and climbing can overwhelm your system fast, especially without time to rest. So how do you stay ahead of it? You pace yourself. Don't overload your schedule. Build in extra rest days, yes, full days, to do absolutely nothing. Choose shorter flights or stopovers so you can stretch your legs. Stay hydrated, even if that means more bathroom breaks. Pack nutritious snacks you trust. And most importantly, listen to your body. If you need a nap, take one. If you feel out of breath, slow down. This isn't a race. It's your life. And your energy is a precious resource. Because the truth is, the goal isn't to do it all. It's to enjoy what you do and feel good while doing it. And when you've managed your energy wisely, everything else becomes more enjoyable. But there's still one risk many travelers never prepare for until it hits them hard. It's not about exhaustion, but something that can leave a much deeper mark if you're not careful. Let's talk about it next. Here's something most travelers never think about until it happens, and by then it's too late. It's not a flight delay, not a lost bag. It's a single misstep, one quick fall. And for someone over 70, that can change everything. The truth is, as we age, our balance isn't what it used to be. Reflexes slow down, bones become more fragile, and unfamiliar places, whether it's a cobblestone street in Italy or a wet bathroom floor in a hotel, can be full of hidden dangers. What might have been a harmless stumble in your living room could become a hip fracture or a head injury far from home. I remember hearing about Eleanor, a 78-year-old woman who had always been active. She loved walking every morning in her quiet neighborhood. So when she and her granddaughter traveled to Prague, she didn't think twice about the walking tours. But one night, while stepping off a curb on a dimly lit street, she lost her balance. It happened so quickly, just one small step. She fractured her hip and had to undergo surgery abroad. The rest of the trip was canceled. But the real pain came after months of rehab, limited mobility, and a confidence that never fully returned. And Eleanor is not alone. Many tourist spots, especially in older cities, aren't designed with accessibility in mind. You'll find steep stairs with no railings, slippery tiles in hotel lobbies, uneven sidewalks, or buses without handles to hold on to. Add a heavy bag or a bit of jet lag to the mix, and the risk multiplies. What makes it worse is that most seniors push through. We tell ourselves, "I'm fine. I can handle this." But our bodies may disagree, and one moment of pride can turn into months of pain. Even something as basic as fatigue can increase fall risk. When we're tired, our coordination weakens. Our step gets less steady. If you've skipped a meal, walked too much, or slept poorly the night before, it only takes a second of imbalance to go down hard. So what can you do? First, choose shoes that truly support you. Not the fashionable ones. Pick the pair that holds your foot steady and doesn't slip. Bring a lightweight walking stick. If balance is sometimes tricky, don't be afraid to use handrails, elevators, or even ask for help when stepping into a van or shuttle. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. And most of all, plan your days with your safety in mind. Avoid hurrying. Take breaks before your body asks for them. Research your destination to see how walkable it really is. And don't assume every place will be senior-friendly just because it's popular with tourists. Because your freedom to move isn't something to gamble with. Once it's lost, it's not easy to get back. And while falls are physical, the next risk is something that hits both your heart and your wallet. It's not about broken bones, but broken plans that can drain your savings before you even board the plane. Let's talk about that next. There's a quiet kind of stress that sometimes follows seniors when they travel. It doesn't come from jet lag or aching joints. It comes from money worries, the kind that sneak up when something goes wrong. And suddenly, your dream vacation feels more like a costly mistake. Let's face it, traveling isn't cheap. Flights, hotels, transportation, meals, insurance, it adds up. And for many older adults living on a fixed income or retirement savings, there's not much room for error. But what most seniors don't realize is how quickly those small errors or unforeseen events can wipe out thousands of dollars in just a few days. Take Frank, 76, who planned a long-awaited trip to the Caribbean. He booked everything months in advance, flight, hotel, activities. But a week before departure, his doctor diagnosed him with a mild heart arrhythmia and strongly advised against flying. Frank thought he could at least cancel and get a refund. But the airline gave him a partial credit. The hotel refused any reimbursement, and the tour operator had a strict no refunds policy. Just like that, nearly $4,000 was gone. This happens more often than you might think. Most standard health insurance plans don't cover care abroad. If you fall ill in another country, the hospital may not even treat you without proof of payment up front. And if you need an emergency airlift back home for surgery or intensive care, that can cost upwards of $25,000 to $50,000. And that's not an exaggeration. Then there's the growing risk of scams targeting older travelers. Fake vacation rentals, overpriced taxis, credit card fraud, or even strangers offering special deals that vanish after they take your money. Many scammers specifically target seniors, assuming we're too polite or too unfamiliar with technology to notice the red flags. I once heard about a couple who arrived at a lovely-looking hotel they found online, only to realize it didn't exist. The website was fake, their deposit was gone, and now in a foreign city, they had no place to stay. Their entire budget for the trip was swallowed before the vacation had even begun. So what can we do? Start with travel insurance, not the cheapest one, but the one that actually covers medical emergencies, trip cancellations, and lost luggage. Read the fine print. Call and ask questions. It's not just paperwork. It's peace of mind. Only book through well-known, verified platforms. Avoid deals that seem too good to be true, because they usually are. Keep a small amount of cash in a separate place from your main wallet. And be cautious with card machines in taxis or shops. If you feel unsure, walk away. And always share your plans with a trusted family member or friend. Let someone back home know where you're staying, what you've booked, and how to reach you in case something feels off. Because when you protect your finances, you protect your freedom. And freedom at this stage of life is worth guarding with both hands. But now, let's turn to something that touches not your body, not your wallet, but your heart. Something quiet, emotional, and often unexpected. It's a risk many seniors never prepare for, but one that can follow you across any border. Let's talk about that next. There's a kind of silence that sometimes follows you, not in your suitcase, not in your wallet, but in your heart. It doesn't always show up right away. It creeps in sometime after the plane lands, when the excitement settles, and you find yourself surrounded by people, yet feeling oddly alone. Many seniors talk about the emotional high of travel, the thrill of being somewhere new, of ticking another place off the bucket list. But what's often left out is how easily that excitement can turn into loneliness, especially when you're far from home, far from your routine, and far from the people who know how to read your silences. At 70 and beyond, the little things matter more. Someone to help you lift your bag, someone to remind you to take your medication, someone to notice when you've gone too quiet over dinner. And when you travel without that kind of support, or if you're with people who don't quite get you, the loneliness hits harder than expected. I remember Clifford, a widower in his early 80s, who joined a senior tour group to Japan. It was something he'd wanted to do for decades. But halfway through the trip, he stopped joining meals. He stayed behind while others went sightseeing. When asked why, he simply said, "I just didn't feel like talking anymore." The truth? He felt out of place. The group was kind, but no one knew him. And the quiet moments, like waking up alone in a strange room or eating breakfast without a familiar face, felt heavier than the jet lag. And it's not just solo travelers who feel this way. Even couples can feel disconnected from family, friends, or community while abroad. Time zone differences make it hard to call home. Spotty internet makes video chats frustrating. Before you know it, days go by without hearing your grandchild's voice or seeing a familiar smile. And that emotional gap grows. There's also something disorienting about being far from your routines, a favorite chair, the quiet of your own kitchen, your local newspaper. These tiny comforts hold emotional weight, and losing them, even briefly, can feel like you've left a piece of yourself behind. So how can we stay connected, even while far away? Choose your company carefully. Travel with someone who brings you comfort, not just convenience. Stay in touch with loved ones daily, even if it's just a short text or voice message. Let them know where you are, how you're feeling, and when you'll check in next. And if you're traveling alone, create little rituals that ground you. Bring your favorite book. Brew your morning tea the way you do at home. Listen to familiar music before bed. These small anchors can keep you emotionally balanced, even in unfamiliar places. Because travel isn't just about what you see. It's about how you feel while seeing it. And if you feel alone or disconnected, even the most beautiful place can lose its magic. Now that we've talked about the physical, financial, and emotional risks, let's take a step back and reflect. Because the final message isn't to scare you, it's to prepare you. And I'd love to share that with you. right after this. So now that we've taken this honest walk together through the hidden risks of traveling after 70, what are we really left with? We're left with a deeper understanding, not fear, not doubt, but awareness. And awareness is powerful, because when you know what to expect, you can plan better. You can protect yourself, your peace, your joy. Travel is still beautiful. The world still has stories to offer, sunsets to witness, meals to savor. But after a certain age, the way we approach those adventures must change. We can't travel like we did at 40 or 50, and we don't have to. We've earned the right to travel smarter, slower, and safer. You don't need to give up on your dreams. You just need to take care of yourself while chasing them. Maybe it's choosing a shorter trip. Maybe it's bringing someone who knows how to support you. Maybe it's taking one extra day just to rest, reflect, and breathe. These aren't compromises. They're wise adjustments that make the journey truly joyful. Because let me remind you, longevity isn't just about more years. It's about making those years feel lighter, stronger, and more connected to the things and people you love. You don't need to change the whole world. You only need to change a few habits, ask a few more questions, and take a little more care each time you plan something new. And if this video helped shine even a little light on that path for you, I'd love to know. Please leave a comment below and tell me, what's one thing you learned today that you'll take with you on your next trip? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to ElderLife Wisdom for more gentle guidance on living strong, staying safe, and aging with grace. Wherever your next journey takes you, may it be meaningful, may it be safe, and may it remind you how much life there is still left to live. Until next time, take care of yourself